We are back. Today is day 27 of Miracle March. What an exciting couple of days. And I say couple, I mean 27 days where and if this is your first time, I have been intentionally, this entire month, I've been intentionally transforming minds by influencing, coaching, and mentoring aspiring entrepreneurs and providing them with tools to succeed in their businesses. And I've had so much fun being able to take them through clarity journeys, just giving them advice and next steps to be able to map out their day. And I'll tell you, one of the greatest gifts that I get is to see someone actually implementing the things that we talk about. Like, I'm seeing so many people implementing the things that we spoke about. Like, it just fills my heart. They tag me on Facebook and I'm seeing the steps, the action steps. And so every single day, someone gets action steps of things to actually do in their business, in their lives, to see a ROI or to see some difference in their life. And today will be no different. Today we got my man Chris. How you doing, brother?
Thanks, Casson. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing amazing, dude. Tell everyone a little bit about yourself and let's jump right into it.
All right, guys. You guys all know me as Pod. From AZ, moved over to Atlanta just over a year ago now. Picked my house up here on seller finance from Facebook Marketplace. Dude, like, matter of 3 weeks from the time I found the house to the time I closed it, and we actually moved in at that time too. So made a change in my life in 2019 when I went full bore on this. From when I had my kids, when I had my twin girls. You guys have seen them. My twin girls are 4.5 now. Oh man, they're just crazy big now. Wow. And that's been my drive, because my whole, it's not for my family, Casson. It's not for that. It's because, like, my own father was like never there in my life. So my change that I've made for myself is to be there for my kids when they need me, not if I got the time for them. And that's just my big drive about, about doing, going into real estate here and having this luxury of this time frame, for myself, to be able to be able to do what I want and when I want and not have to answer to nobody, which is really cool. So
tell us a little bit more about that mindset of your dad not being there for you, but you're not necessarily being a victim of it. Tell us a little bit more, like, because now you're making changes and you're trying to show up for your daughters or your kids in a different way that your dad may not have been there. What are some of the things that you've made in a positive, and what are some of the things that you may still hold on to or struggle with not having a father there?
Well, first off, back in, like, ever since I was able to drive, right, once I first got my license, my parents divorced like when I was 5. So I didn't really know much, but, again, asking, my dad to do things, he was more important than his kids, which was just me and my brother. And so he, always just pushed us away. And then this one time, back in high school, like the beginning of high school there, he did his fatherly thing, took us out, took me out clothes shopping and stuff for the year. And, go up to go give him a hug and stuff. And he pushes me away and sticks out his hand and says, "Nah, man, a handshake will do." And, like that, there kind of did it for me. That there was like over the top, even though I'd kind of been dealing with everything. Mm-hmm. I just kind of smacked his hand out of the way and like walked off, just because it was like, dude, like, I'm your own son. I'm your flesh and blood. Like, how are you going to just like, how are you going to do that to me? So yeah. I was like, nah, man, like, I never had that big of a family growing up. and I always wanted a bigger family, you know, and I'm happy to, you know, with the one that I have now, because I've made it so big. And, you know, my wife's family too has, you know, really opened up their arms. And so growing up, you know, we've all heard that song, The Cat's in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon. Yeah. That there was kind of like me growing up, because, you know, my dad was never there. And so, you know, like he would just be there around for the end and just be like, oh yeah, hey, we did a good job. Hey, yeah, this and that. No, dude, like he was never there. He never did anything. I didn't even learn how to, being a man from him. I had to learn from other people. So
Where
I
where in
was,
your life, where in your life do you see that affecting you right now?
where did I see that affected me now? Because my father wasn't there and I want to be there for my kids. That's the big change.
Yep. So
You know,
that's and I love that. I think like you being able to take the pain and turning it into purpose is absolutely like it's what I preach, right? I encourage everyone to do that. Do you think that there are some remnants, and maybe there isn't, but do you think there, like, have you tried to do something and realized like, crap, I may be responding or reacting because of like me not have learning this, and so you got to learn this from other people, or like, have you seen that in your life, or are you aware of it? I think is more of the question.
like I notice it, but it's not, I don't see it as a crutch for me, because I worked around it. I didn't have, you know, a dad there.
Hmm.
So after me and my wife got married, her son came over from the Philippines at age 9.
Mm.
15, I adopted him as
Mm.
my own flesh and blood. And I wanted him to want me to adopt him, and I
Mhm.
did. What was very special about it is because even then, I'm like, dude, I don't know how to be a dad, because I didn't have a dad.
Hmm.
I did not have a dad there. I had to learn from other people's, from their parents and stuff. And most of my friends and stuff were, again, divorced parents. And
Yeah.
so they either lived with their dad or lived with their mother. Um, but there was things that you obviously still need, your father there for. Well, I didn't get that from them. So I had to learn other ways. I had to get creative about things.
Where did you learn from?
Well,
How did you get creative?
watching other people. And so back in the day, I would ran, I kind of ran with the bad kids and stuff, of the wrong crowd, but I was smart enough to not go down that route.
Yeah.
I just hung around them, just kind of associated with them because they were my friends. But what I did was I would actually go and hang out with my mom, like be my mom's driver, because she would not, really have much time to go out and have fun herself. So I kind of wanted that for her. So I would just kind of go and be her driver. I'd, while she can go out and go have fun with her friends, go over to her friends' houses and stuff. And all her friends knew me. Well, while doing that, now mind you, I'm like 15, 16, 17, 18. And like just on the times that I didn't have nothing else to do, instead of sitting at home by myself, sure, I'd go, go out, go drive, getting practice, driving, and get to go hang out and, go see other people and stuff like that. But then I got to see where others in those relationships, those other adults were mistreating others. And like to this day, I still open the door for my wife any given time, any woman, any person, coming and going. I have those manners, and like a lot of that's gone today. But I learned that just by being around there and associating. I'm like, man, that's messed up. That's messed up. But it wasn't my place to really do anything about it,
Mhm.
But I learned from that. Well, because of learning from others and watching others, that's where I kind of pride myself because I've never really had a mentor, a teacher, a father there to, really teach me these things, that I would make sure that I was smart enough to pay attention to what was going on, to understand without really having a mentor. I was
But
just smart
what
enough
gave
to learn
you
about it.
what gave you that intuition, do you think? Is was there this internal commitment to not wanting to be like that? Like, was there an internal conversation as to the type of man you desired to be? Like, I want you to go a little bit deeper. Saying that you were smart enough, and you are super intelligent and smart, but I want the people who are listening, who may have, or they are, may have, or still is going through similar things. I want them to be able to get something out of what you're saying, because it's super powerful to have gone through that experience, and not saying that you're not scarred or don't have any scars from it, because I'm sure you do, and you're wearing it really well in your story as to how you turned out. But in that moment, what were you holding on to, or like, what gave you that intuition?
Just the fact that I wasn't going to be like him, you know, like 18, going off to going off into the army and stuff, and I'm sitting there, crying my eyes out to my own father. And I'm like, dude, you can't even sit there and say that you love me. I'm your own son. I'm your own flesh and blood. And he's like, well, I do. I'm like, right there. You can't even say it. And it's like, I don't know what his problem is. I've never been able to figure that out. Now, my family on my wife's side is Filipino. For whatever reason, he's got issues with my wife, with the family. I've invited him to our house gatherings and stuff, and he would just disassociate himself into a separate room from everybody else. And it was like, wow, like, one, he's not open. Two, like, I don't know. I don't really know. Now, he was in the Vietnam War, great. But he was never like a POW where he was never tortured or anything. So like, I could see that being an issue. But like, why he's just being standoffish and being, away from everybody, is, a mystery to me. I've even talked to my aunt, his sister, and, it's been a mystery to her too. And she grew up with him his whole life.
Have you ever asked him?
Yeah. And he just denies it. So, like, even to this day, my twin girls are flesh and blood. He says, no, your daughter's your flesh and blood. And my son, he sees, is not there. That's not real. He doesn't accept that. So
let me ask you about his upbringing. What was his upbringing like?
He is military. My grandfather, his dad, was in the Air Force, and they did move around. I do get that. The only other thing that I know of is his sister, my aunt, had sat there and said that there was a time when he was younger that he was disassociating from others. And it was like, I'm not having that, like, I can't do that. I can't disassociate others in that aspect. And I'm just like, no, man, like, everyone has their thing, everyone's there, but like, why, why he was like this, I don't know. There was never anything on his side of the family, being with his dad and his mother and stuff, nothing there. So right now it's still a mystery, but it's fine though. And this is where I've gotten over it.
Yeah.
because it's like, dude, I'm not going to be that. If you can't be a dad to me, I'm going to find out how to do it. And parenting, Cassie, you know this too. You got kids, and anyone else that's got kids. There is no manual for how to parent. Like,
No,
it's on a
there
whim.
isn't.
Like,
There isn't at all. But what I know to be true is most times people take the same habits and behaviors that was passed down and they carry it on to their kids, right? If there's not that, I am not going to be that, I'm not doing that to my kids, right? Like there's certain things that my dad does still to this day that I'm like, I remember being a kid and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that to my kids ever, right? So even in a home where um my parents are still together, still in love. I mean, I love my dad to that, and but there are things that I'll take and some that I won't, right? Like, and so I really like the fact and the way that you have been able to commit to not being like that. Although I still hear, and I'm gonna ask you this question right now, and it maybe I want to know what your response to it is. I love asking difficult questions. If you haven't heard or noticed,
let's do it.
what would a I love you from your dad do to you today?
Nothing now.
You don't think so?
Nope. And I know for a fact because I got him to say it to me. I did. Because for whatever reason, my dad has had issues. I don't know what it is. Nobody can pinpoint it. He won't admit anything. My brother doesn't know anything either. We went to my brother's wedding about 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That there was the last time that I'd seen and talked to my dad. And I tried calling him up on his birthday, Merry Christmas, Memorial Day, thank you for everything, all that stuff. Calling him, texting him, leaving him messages, emails, with no response. Dude, no response, dude. 7 years. Now, after meeting my wife, and I'll come back to this, after meeting my wife, I did become Catholic. And I got closer to God. And this one day, I don't know what it was. I just felt like I needed to go over there. I just needed to clear my slate.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. This was like 7.5 years. Never talking to him, never seeing him. I go and knock on the door. He didn't even recognize me. He's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "Yo, it's your son. It's Chris." "Oh, hey. Well, come on in." Hunky dory, like nothing was like no time had ever skipped.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have, I didn't know what I was gonna say. My whole life. Man, Dad, F you, screw this. You're a bad person, this and that. All kinds of things that I wanted to say to him. All kinds. Sometimes I thought I just wanted to just painfully hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
But I went over there this day. Nothing, because I did it for me. I did it for me, and I didn't care what the outcome was. Walked in there, hey, how's it going? He sits there and goes back and forth. Hey, yeah, I don't know whatever happened that day. He tried coming up with excuses and stuff. I'm like, dude, I don't really care. I'm here for one thing. He's like, what's that? I looked him dead in the eye. I just said, I forgive you.
Mm.
And I looked over there at his wife, his new wife, that I was never known about. and that he had, never told me that he got married and stuff. I had to see it on Facebook. And I looked at her and I said, I forgive you too. And I just left it at that.
Wow.
He starts bawling like a little baby. Tears are just pouring out. He's sitting down in his chair just crying. Really good. Like, for this dude never saying anything in his life, never crying or anything like that, he was crying like a little baby. I stood there and I gave him a hug. And he embraced that. And I could feel him squeezing on me, that he was embracing it.
What did that do for you?
That put me at ease. Because when I did that, he admitted that I was the bigger man.
Mm.
He said, you were the bigger man.
Wow.
You were able to come here and say what you had to say. And I've been trying to work up the courage and been trying to, work up, whatever to be able to call you. He goes, but you beat me to it. You are the bigger man. That there was the biggest embracing hug that I've ever gotten from him.
Wow.
And again, it didn't mean nothing to me, though. I was there, clear my conscience, be free. And I didn't even plan on this. It was just one day I was around town and, I'm going to go visit him. My wife didn't even know. My wife did not even know. After I saw him, told her about it. But then we walked out. He walked me out. And I said, dude, I wish, you were there for me. He goes, yeah, I really wish I was too. I go, but it's okay. He's like, no, I wish I was. I go, I wish you were too. But it's okay. Because it's made me the man that I am today. And at that point,
do you think that he wanted to turn a new leaf at that point in that journey?
I think he wants to, but he's too afraid.
What do you think he's afraid of?
I have no idea. I really don't. Because here's the thing. After I said that, but it's made me the man that I am today, and I'm happy with it. He put his head down. He kind of shunned himself. Now, his wife had passed probably now about a year and a half ago, rest in peace. But he doesn't have anybody. He's pushed me away as a son. He's barely hung on to my brother, which is older by 5 years. And he's basically pushed us away. He's pushed everybody in his family away except for the wife that he had. And now she's gone. And now I know he's there with nobody. And it pains me for that. But, that's the life that he chose. He's had plenty of time. And to this day, I still try to call him. I send him pictures of his grandkids. Still, no acknowledgement. For whatever reason, I don't know. But I swore a long time ago that I'd already seen all this coming. And that I was never going to be like that. And so guess what? When my kids were born, when my twin girls were born, that's when I chose to be a stay-at-home dad.
Right.
A stay-at-home dad. I chose that to raise my twin girls. Even in real estate, I took them in my arms, one in each one like this at 6 months old, walking properties, walking properties. And here's the thing. I couldn't write down what the problems were. I had to mentally take pictures of it. Go back later and put together those deals. And my first deal that I did, I made $60K. And I was like, man, my first year doing that. And I was like, what did I get to do? And I got to think back. I was like, wow, $60K, pretty, a little bit less than what I would doing a W-2. But I was like, wow, what did I get to do? Got to stay at home with my kids. Got to raise them, got to take naps in the middle of the day, got to wake up whenever, got to go wherever. I had freedom, even though I had my little girls, but I had freedom.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, I did that in the period of the 1 year, and that there was a kickoff of my whole, real estate. And since then, it's just been like the whole freedom itself. Like, that's my true freedom. It's not the money, it's having the time. Because like I said, I'm breaking that cycle. I'm there for all my kids. And I'm there for them all, no matter what, when they need me. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've changed. That's my strength. That's my power. That's what I strive for. Because my kids are not going to be anything like my dad. They're not going to have that issue.
Man, that's super powerful, bro. Super powerful in you being able to have that mindset of not being the victim, because typically what happens in situations like these is that most people will start their journey of not wanting to not be there for their kids, and they will go out and work so hard and end up not being there for their kids. Like they're like, man, I'm working so hard, I'm trying to provide a better life, and without even realizing, they end up not being there. And so I think that that's pretty awesome, and kudos to you for being able to hold that and hold it strong. And so, I mean, we had no idea that this conversation was going to go here. And typically these calls are about 30 minutes. Were there any questions or anything you had specifically for me? I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for sharing yourself with me and with everyone. But were there any specific questions you had for me?
Oh, with what? The last minute?
No, just anything, bro.
Nah, man, I was actually just happy to get on here and chit chat with you, and hopefully provided something back for somebody else. One thing I would say is I would just like to leave. Me and my wife, once we got together, and now we've been together for 15 years. Ever since day one that we were together. And I think this is one of the things that actually really worked out for us and played a big role for us, is that we always looked at our lives that whatever it is that we had, it wasn't reliant on both our incomes. It was reliant upon one, where if one person had to take over, we could. Now, we may not have, the best clothes, full internet or anything like that and all the luxuries. But hey, guess what? We would still be able to, 100% survive.
Yeah.
And that's how we've always done it. And looking at it that way, great. When we had the girls, dude, daycare. If I stayed working, I would have been working just to keep them, put them in daycare and make, a couple $100 at the end of the week. Well, then why do that? And if I'm not going to be there? So we took that little bit of a loss. I stayed at home because she had better benefits. So, I stayed at home and I didn't have a problem with that. That was my choice. And it's a choice that I would never change again. I would never change that choice again. To be able to be there and like come home and be there the whole time with those little girls.
Yeah.
Dude, that alone. That's
Kudos to you for that, man, because a lot of men's egos would get in the way from being able to do that. And I think you're a super stand-up guy for being able to assess the situation and provide value where necessary and where needed. I think, man, there's nothing more powerful than that. And just being able to be there for your daughters, your wife, your family, especially like 15 years rocking strong. That's amazing, dude.
yeah, dude. Love it. 15 years, man. You know what else is 14 years every New Year's? And I don't know what it is because I work better in tough situations. You give me a year to do something, I'll do it in the last week of the year. I don't know why, but that's just me. That's how I work there.
Most people.
Right? But like I have that drive and that mentality for doing that. And like I quit smoking cigarettes on a whim. And I was truck driving and I quit that night and I sat around in my truck for the next 2 days in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do. Perfect time to continue smoking. Never did. 14 years on New Year's, every single New Year's Day. Right when that ball drops, strikes another year of drink free.
Wow.
The ball dropped. I did not continue into the next day or anything with that. The ball dropped. I'm done. And that's why I've done a lot of things in my life. Is just when I do it, it's dramatic and it's the change that I need, though.
We all need those types of changes. And do you think here's a topic, and this might be a rabbit hole, because here's how I see like these phases that we have. We have a year, we have months, we have quarters. We also have a day, we have a week. And what I try to hack in my own mind is that every day could be a new year. Every single day. 365 new years.
Yep.
Because if I needed to make a change and I could trick my brain to want to make that change on a new year, when in fact it's just a new day, like, why not make the change now, tomorrow, or whatever, right? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
My thought on that is it's all up to you. It's in your mind.
It's all in your mind.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, there's no try. There's do and fail, and then you tried. But if you try, I'm going to try to do that tomorrow, or I'm going to try to do that, next week. You're already setting yourself up for failure with that. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You do it and then you fail. Then you can say that you tried.
Yeah.
But until then, you can't say that you're going to try to, do whatever. You can't try to, run a mile in whatever, 15 seconds, like whatever. You have to do it and try it. You have to do it and work at it. Every day that you don't, you fail. Hey, you've tried it. Again, that's so many more times that you're going at it, but you're not giving up. If you try for something, I think you're already, setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
And that's why when I quit smoking and quit drinking, the two biggest vices that anybody has, right there. I did not plan on quitting drinking. Ball was dropping. I had my last drink in my hand. Happy New Year. I was done. That was it. Spur of the moment. Smoking. Had my last 2 cigarettes that night, smoked those up, went to sleep, woke up, and never again. Just again.
That's incredible.
That was it.
That's incredible, man.
But that's that. Gotta do it. I'm gonna do it now. It's not. I'm gonna try to do it. No, I'm gonna do it.
And just do it. That's
Exactly.
the thing. Just do it. Why? When you give your mind time to think through stuff, you start to you start to go down this path as to thinking about all the reasons. Yeah, you self-sabotage. Thank you. Right away, like almost like that, you start to self-sabotage, and so that's why I love this quote behind me that I have right here on this. You can't see it, but it's act and know it's impossible to fail, right? Like just do it. Like just jump in and get it done, man. They like don't think about it. Like, and it's proven that some of the wealthiest people in the world, they make decisions very quickly and they change them very slowly. Proven. Yep. And so, man, thank you for opening up. And this conversation's like, dude, you're an amazing man, dude. And I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your wisdom and nuggets with the Miracle March people, because I'm sure this is one that's going to be rewatched again and again, because like the wisdom that you've shared in your journey has just been like phenomenal. So thank you, bro. Any final words?
Just do it. Keep moving forward. You got to know what you don't want. I think knowing what you don't want helps to drive you more for what you want. Because when you know what you don't want, you know what you want to avoid.
Mm-hmm.
And, just like that, I wasn't going to be like my dad. I wasn't going to be like that. I wasn't going to have that happen. And that was going to be the change of my life. Whatever was going on, whatever that is, not having that, not bringing that into my family, not with my kids. Amazing. My kids will never know that. They won't understand that. They will know that their dad was always there for them, no matter what. That's something that I can't say.
Yeah. Amazing.
But my kids can say that.
100%. My man, Chris, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you being on here. Guys, what a phenomenal guest. And I know this is one that you guys would have enjoyed. Rewatch it. There's a lot of nuggets in what he shared about his journey with his dad and being able to be the bigger person. A lot of people, when you go through these types of things, we tend to we tend to hold on to the pain, and we curse them versus go bless them. And like he said, do it for you. If it's for anyone else, forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. It's for you. And so what an amazing session. Day 27 is in the books. Tomorrow, we're going to have day 28. We're almost to the finish line, guys. Miracle March has been such a blessing to so many. And so, again, thanks to the special guest today. Catch you guys tomorrow. On Wednesday, we're going to be doing a very special webinar for the group coaching session. So if that's something that you're interested in Purpose Ways group coaching, I'm going to be going into details about what that group coaching entails. It's a lifetime group coaching, y'all. Lifetime. And it has so many different elements of it. It has finances. It has relationships. It has mindset. It's just such a holistic coaching session. You do not want to miss this. And so I'm excited to break this down, and to all the people who are going to be starting on April 6th with us. But this Wednesday at 6 p.m., we're going to be breaking this down. So Thank you all. See you tomorrow. Appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.